Perhaps I treated you too harshly.
Before I start this video, I just want to say, if you actually enjoy Assassin's Creed Shadows, well, more power to you, honestly. While I'm not the biggest fan of Ubisoft's newest formula of Assassin's Creed, I'm glad that there are some people who still enjoy the newer games. But in this video, I want to talk about one of the most underrated Assassin's Creed games to ever come out. One that released for the next generation at the time, the PS4 and Xbox One consoles, and one that, in an attempt to revamp the gameplay, graphics, and world design to heights never seen before in the franchise, fell completely flat on its face due to poor optimization and an incredible amount of jankiness. That game, of course, is Assassin's Creed Unity. While Ubisoft is known now for its bland, unfinished game releases, back then it wasn't quite the case. They had their open world formula figured out with the earlier Assassin's Creed games along with Far Cry, however, things were only just starting to get stale. Assassin's Creed had peaked with AC4, mixing its well-known open world formula with a pirate simulator to make something that is truly amazing. What did that game have to do with Assassins? I legitimately do not know. But after that game, and with the newest generation of consoles being released, Ubisoft wanted to revamp and improve their tried and true formula, making a new Assassin's Creed game built from the ground up for a new generation. Trailers for the game depicted an absolutely beautiful, meticulous recreation of a revolutionary France, an amazing setting for an Assassin's Creed game. Incredibly dense crowd sizes making for an even more immersive experience. This was also the first and one of the last AC games to feature co-op. A lot of marketing for this game centered around co-op, except the main story missions couldn't be completed with your friends. Just side missions could be done co-op, which felt pretty disconnected from the actual story of the game, and as a result, it's inconsequential. Aside from some locked gear behind co-op, there really was no incentive to play it. The game had a huge amount of hype leading up to its release. It was looking to be one of the best Assassin's Creed games to date. Unfortunately, all of our hopes were dashed when Ubisoft released it way too prematurely. Only 1 year between this new-gen game and Assassin's Creed 4. It was clear that they really should have spent another year on Unity when it launched. You know a game is a disaster when its glitches are more iconic than the actual gameplay itself. AC Unity is a perfect example of that, as most people only remember it for the ridiculous amount of bugs, glitches, awful performance, and just to really shove it in our wounds, it was the first AC game to feature a premium currency. That's right, instead of actually earning the items in the game by, playing it, you could buy some Helix points with real money and get whatever you want. In my opinion, Assassin's Creed Unity marked the beginning of Ubisoft's long and slow downfall. The backlash for this game was so immense that Ubisoft was handing out the DLC for this game for free. And for people who purchased the season pass, they could get another game just to make up for the disappointment that was this game's launch. Of course, Ubisoft would go on to patch the game after launch, but the damage was already done. But that isn't to say it was all bad. Coming back to this game over 10 years later, there's a lot of aspects that Ubisoft did right here. In fact, I'd say Unity is one of, if not the most underrated Assassin's Creed game of all time. And here's why. The first thing that immediately floored me while I made my way through the streets of Paris as Arno was how absolutely gorgeous the game looks even to this day. I have no idea how they pulled it off, but the wizards over at Ubisoft made this game look so ahead of its time. Combining that with the insane crowd density makes for an incredibly immersive experience. Pushing through the rowdy crowds of a revolutionary France as you make your way to your target never got old for me. On top of that came a complete overhaul of the parkour system as we know it. It was a major upgrade from the previous games. They separated the buttons for parkouring up and down, meaning much less accidental jumping or swan diving off of a building and much more intentional feeling parkour. The game had way more parkour animations that made every move tie in together much more smoothly, with a real feeling of momentum to every leap, slide, and dive. There's a much better flow to parkour, and Arno will interact with the environment using it as leverage, making moving through Paris fun and effortless. Unity also marked the return to the traditional assassin gameplay and story. Most missions will have you tailing a target, waiting for the perfect time to strike. Unity actually wanted to be a stealth game with its open-ended infiltration mission design. For the first time in an Assassin's Creed game, you could crouch. Now you could sneak behind cover and give yourself more control over how you approach. On top of that, enemy AI got much better too. With search and alert phases, they can remember where you last were and make a real effort to find you. When they do find you though, combat feels more flashy and satisfying than ever with fluid and visceral animations. The only thing that's annoying are the enemies with guns, as your only option is to dodge, breaking the flow of combat. While it's not the best story in an AC game, it's more than serviceable and engaging enough for me. Arno as a main character takes clear inspiration from Ezio, being a young brash man who was orphaned as a child. He makes a lot of quips that, surprisingly enough, had me laughing at times.
It's my watch. I want it fairly.
Well, in a just world, Victor, I would agree with you, but this is not a just world. This is France.
You're a dead man.
I will say though that this game doesn't have as many memorable historical side characters as the older Assassin's Creed games. There's no characters like Leonardo da Vinci, William Kidd, or Benjamin Franklin here. The modern day aspects of this game also feel pretty shoehorned in just to keep that storyline going. But regardless, Assassin's Creed Unity features an absolutely beautiful, faithful recreation of Paris during the French Revolution. A brutal, chaotic period of time that this game captures very well. While the game did release in a completely broken state, it's since been patched, and what we have here is easily the most underrated Assassin's Creed game of all time. One that is absolutely worth a play. And that's all I have to say on that. If you've played Assassin's Creed Unity, let me know what you think. Till next time, see ya.